We are back in Tucson, Arizona for the R48 Pro stop number 2. It's Nikolai Nahorniak going up against Andy Nett in this round of 16. We are broadcasting at racefor8.com. Appreciate you tuning in, and if you can, tell your friends to do the same at racefor8.com. Up next to Dave Fink here. My name is Dave Vincent. Dave, you are certainly looking forward to this one. I know a lot of fans and handball players on the tour are clamoring to watch Nikolai Nahorniak go up against Andy Nett because they believe that Nick does have a chance. Now,
Dave, these guys actually played 2 months ago at the three-wall nationals where Nikolai was an overwhelming favorite, being a finalist from the year before and also considered to be one of the best three-wall players in the world. Andy Nett doesn't play three-wall regularly, but Andy Nett just crushed him, 21-3, 21-9. Nikolai saying he's really looking forward to getting back in there. I don't know, Dave. I don't really look forward to getting back in there against people that beat me 21-3, 21-9.
Look what Andy is doing here, stepping right up. How intimidating is that?
Well, the way to beat Nikolai, Dave, is to apply a lot of pressure, and that's exactly what Andy Nett does. He will not
flat roll with the left-handed paddle from Nikolai Nahorniak, and he has a big smile on his face. But it is intimidating, isn't it, for him to get underneath there and have Andy step in right behind him?
1 play 0.
Andy didn't used to do that, but now he's an Elite 8. I think things have changed just a little bit.
Andy's game has really gone up. And now some razzle-dazzle from Nikolai. Nikolai, Dave, is one of the players that can literally flat kill the ball with either hand from anywhere on the court when he's set up. Similar to a Chris Rusing, I think, Dave. Both guys big. And both guys can just hit missiles.
I think it's tough for a tall guy to hit a ceiling shot because you get so much leverage. Look at that left-handed kill right there from Nick. You get so much leverage, you hit the ceiling, the ball comes right off the back wall, and you saw that Andy was trying to hit it soft.
I believe Andy, Dave, has a very good ceiling game. I thought it would be one of his weaknesses, but plays very well
side out
to the roof.
Now we get to see that amazing serve from Andy Nett.
0 play 3.
A lot of players think here at this tournament that Andy Nett and this scoring format, and look at that thing, the scoring format actually benefits Andy Nett because he has such a great serve.
1 play 3.
And he can jump off to big leads. Here he's already down, but he's going to get 2 quick points. There's the second one.
Amazing first strike shot there from Andy.
Well, he got such a huge setup off that serve. And just like that, Andy's right back into it.
2 play 3. Short.
And he's one of those guys that goes for the crack serve, and it's literally not even out of his hand and already on the crack. And he hits it so hard.
Even when you know where it's going and you know what it's going to do, it's still hard. And just an amazing shot. Andy's so tall, but he gets down underneath that ball, breaks over the top of it, and just runs the ball straight down that side wall.
3 play 3.
I actually saw it the other way. I saw Andy get underneath it and hop it away from Nikolai. That ball was short. The referee sometimes can't even see the ball hit so fast. Smart from Nikolai, and then he does a flat roll into the corner. That was very smart from Nikolai. He thought about jumping in. Used a little bit of patience. 3-3, going to 25. The winner will face Sean Lenning.
Side out. 3 play 3. Replay. Check ball.
That does not feel good, Dave.
Oh, that was right in the ribs. And Andy hits a heavy ball.
3 play 3.
Wow. Dave, that's just unbelievable. And that's the serve that Sean Lenning was saying.
Four play 3. Short. There's no line judge. Yeah, short. Second serve.
I know, Dave, you probably don't remember, but last year in this event, Dave, in the round of 16, Andy Nett lost game number 1, was trailing 15-16 in game number 2, lost the rally, which would have been 17-15. He appealed the serve to the line judges. They both saw the serve good. He went to the instant replay, and the instant replay overturned the call. And he got a second serve from his opponent. His opponent never scored again in the rest of that second game. He went on to win the tiebreaker 11-8.
I believe that opponent was you. So I might remember that.
Yeah. There was a bad scene in this very room when that call was overturned by the instant replay.
I got my cutlery out
6, play 3.
after that.
Short.
And by cutlery, I mean
Second serve.
my butter knife. It was plastic, but I think I could have done it. Jabbed it right in your neck, but I didn't do it.
Well, you're the consummate professional.
play
You were
6.
still on the air. Now, if you weren't on the air, it could have been different, but you take your job seriously. And Dave, very similar to Vic Perez and Emmett. I believe, Dave, these guys play a similar style, but Andy Nett is more powerful, faster, with a better serve.
6, play 3.
And more aggressive, and I feel like it's not a good matchup for Nikolai.
Hold it, screen.
Nick was unable to get that huge reverse with power from
2 serves, 1
Andy
screen.
Nett down the middle. Of course it was a screen, but still.
Saw it good.
I also saw it good.
7, play 3.
And Andy Nett has now scored 7 consecutive points. And a strange error there, but you'll see Nikolai, Dave, pumping himself up a lot by actually pounding his fists together.
Well,
3,
he's
play 7.
trying to become a dental hygienist. Doesn't want to hurt his phalanges.
Well played.
Thank you. That was a nice shot right there from Nick.
The man-child, similar to Larry Bird, when he hits a great shot, he just starts walking towards the server's box. He
4,
knows
play
it's good.
7.
That's a good play from Vic Perez, the referee letting Nick take that ball off the back wall. You know, a lot of referees would have stopped the action right there on that contact.
These guys, Dave, have played a couple of times
5,
in
play
the
7.
Midwest events in Indiana and I believe also in Milwaukee. Had some close matches, but Dave, Andy Nett has just so much experience, not only qualifying for Seattle last year in the Players' Championship, but winning a world title against Paul Brady. I mean, you can't buy that kind of experience, Dave, and the kind of confidence that gives you.
Saw Nikolai shrug his shoulder there. He just recently had surgery, didn't he?
On his left shoulder
7,
about a
play
year
5.
ago. He actually injured that shoulder, Dave, at the 2011 Vegas World Outdoor Ball Championships. Beat Shorty Ruiz there in the first game, 15-2. Looked like, Dave, he would probably go on and win that tournament. I know I played him at that event. I never saw anything like it. I didn't even see the ball he was
8,
hitting it
play
so
5.
hard. But ended up tearing his rotator cuff in his left shoulder in the first point of the second game against Shorty. And Dave, you and I as announcers were not only dehydrated and hallucinating from the heat, but really didn't understand what changed. He won 15-1, then all of a sudden he lost 15-3, 11-3.
9, play 5.
And now we know.
Where that ball was hit with power and hook.
I like that call from our referee. You know, Dave, a lot of inexperienced referees might have caught a hinder there. Our referee
First
let
time
Andy
out
Nett
scores
get
10-5.
around the man-child. Had the whole open court. I think, Dave, the man-child needs to show some more intensity. The last time we saw him on a webcast, Dave, was in the collegiate finals in Tempe. And although he was winning easily, he was literally running circles around the court, pumping his fists together in his chest. And it seemed to really spur him to even play better. Right now, he seems a little bit subdued. And Andy Nett can do that to you, Dave. I mean, how much intensity can you have when you're facing 95-mile-per-hour bullets down the right wall?
Well, I was going to make the comment earlier that Andy not only is one of the hardest hitters with that right hand, and it's on every shot too, Dave. It's unless he's going to the ceiling, but his left is also so direct and so hard, and it reverses that I see him as being very difficult around that short line or the dotted line because He pushes balls down lines. He hits cracks. He sometimes overhits the ball, but left and right, Dave, he's so powerful.
Well, I believe, Dave, that Andy has an unbelievable off-balance fadeaway left kill that he hits especially well under pressure. Just when you think you've got Andy in a tough spot, particularly late in games, he comes up with these amazing left-handed
Resuming
kills.
play. 10, play 5. Short.
Score here at 10-5. Nick
Second serve.
trying to hang out, though. Hang around.
I'm surprised, Dave, that as strong as Nikolai is, that he doesn't have a great power serve. And that'll be something he needs to develop, Dave, because unless you've got that unbelievable Chapman stealing game and back wall game, I don't think you can win in this day and age with a lob serve. Very difficult to give away
5,
so many
play 10.
free points to your opponent on the serve when you're not getting any.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily a bad idea against Andy Nett to go up top.
Well, I'll say, Dave, and I don't like to talk about myself here in the booth, but the times I've played Andy Nett and tried to play that high game, I've lost. When I attacked Andy, I actually had, it was the time I won.
10, play
so I
5.
think maybe you go after Andy.
I think that's kind of true for all of those players out there that are first strikers, and you are a first strike artist. I'm not sure if Nikolai is, but by getting into the power game on the serve, and it actually intensifies your first strike because you're, for some
5,
reason,
play 10.
more in the game, so to speak. Now, guys like Dave Chapman are just shaking their heads because that sounded probably totally ridiculous to him, because he was one of the few, like Tony Healy, that would do that lob serve or an underhand lob or some kind of more of a defensive
10, play
type serve
5.
and then attack that next return of yours and do it so well. Wow, that is an just unbelievable serve from Andy Nett.
11, play 5.
I mean, it's just impossible to return, Dave. There's literally
Check
nothing
ball.
you can do. The ball checked up on the floor at 89 miles per hour, bounced straight into the sidewall, and then came straight back out.
12,
There's
play 5.
nothing you can do there.
I agree with you. Andy's also changing directions too, so he's reversing one time and natural hook the next.
You see, Dave, Nikolai makes a great get, but he's not quick to get back to his feet. And I know Andy hit a perfect shot there, but he didn't have any pressure because Nikolai was still struggling to get up. He got up on about the 5 count, where you see a lot of guys like Emmett Peugeot up before you can even count to 1.
13, play 5.
This is the one-game match of 25 men's round of 16. Short ball, Andy Nett versus Nikolai Nahorniak.
You know, Dave, I'm surprised that Andy serves to the left at all, because he doesn't
Second
win
serve.
points serving to the left. And even if you know his serve to the right's coming, you can't do anything with it. And now, Dave, this match is not at all what I think you expected. And this is the difference, Dave, between
14, play 5.
pro experience, world championship experience, and a guy that's kind of been playing mostly
Hold
locally.
it, replay.
It's overwhelming to see this kind of pace and intensity when you're, I know Nikolai came off a great win last week where he beat Dane Statkowski and Mike Munson.
Dave Munson as well. Took down the
14,
whole
play
family.
5.
And that's also a good win.
Yeah,
The way
excellent.
that Dave's been playing lately.
Yeah, Dave's a great player. Hope we see him out here. But
Yeah, he took down Dave, Mike, and Dane. This is a huge setup for Andy Nett, who's going to somehow get that ball over the
halftime.
top. And now we're at half. We're going to take a break, 3 minutes. We'll be back in just a bit. Stick around for the second half of the Race for 8 Pro round of 16 finals in Tucson, Arizona.
with that girlfriend. She says she's
Susan Sippy on the telephone, call on 521, Susan Sipp, 521.
it's like, what the hell am I gonna do with the underage girl? Yeah, let's go bowling. Go ride bikes. Yeah. Like that. She says she goes to LA a lot, so maybe I can just meet her up over there. Oh, damn. I heard there's like a handball party tomorrow, so maybe meet up or something. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Today is Friday. Yes, it does. Yeah. Tournaments usually start on Friday. Yeah, but this right here starts on Thursday. I think if they started the qualifiers Friday and make the finals on Sunday, they would get more interest. That's when you can get it off, right? I don't know why they do that. They do that. Oh, that's true too. Anyway, everybody was rather watch football instead of for sure. I know I would.
Yeah. You guys have 20 seconds. You ready? Okay. And the net serving. 15, play 5.
We are back for the second half, 15-5. Nett is just cruising, and serves like that are the reason why. I'm telling you, this
16,
new
play 5.
fast R48 Pro Ball is going to benefit guys like Luis Moreno, Sean Lenning, and Andy Nett, as well as Charlie Jenks.
I actually, Dave, thought that the softer ball would favor Andy Nett, but it looks like he's playing even better
17,
right
play
now.
5.
Dave, every time I watch Andy Nett play, which is about every couple of weeks, I think he's getting better.
Well, he loves these concrete courts. Every wall is concrete here. Except for the back wall, of course, is glass.
You see Nikolai, Dave, normally the guy dictating with his pace, but all he can do is scoop and try and do whatever he can to keep
5,
rallies
play
alive.
17.
And this is the strategy I like from Nikolai, going to the hard serve. Has to get
Second
away
serve.
from the lob serve, Dave, which has not done him any good.
And there's a point now for Nahorniak. See if he can get something going here.
6, play 17.
See that when Nick pushes Andy left to right, he is scoring points.
7, play 17.
When Andy doesn't have a chance to plant those feet.
Short.
I know he's a good off-balance shooter, but in a sense, he's still controlling that. But side to side, that's when Nick's been
Second
scoring
serve.
points. That's where Andy's very dangerous.
That's an inside-out fist pass. Haven't seen that shot from Andy, Dave, but it was very effective.
17, play 7.
Another deep crack right there from Andy. If you play that revolving door, it hits the back wall and shoots
18,
across.
play 7.
And you've had to return a few of those, Dave.
More than I'd like. I prefer watching them from here in the comfort of this luxury box that we've created here.
Well, if you two keep winning, you might have to play him again in the semis if he can get past Sean Lenny. I know Sean was a little concerned that he was
7, play 18.
on a collision course.
And Dave, this is thus far looks very similar to what Andy did to Nikolai in
8,
three
play
wall.
18.
You know, Dave, you may disagree with me here, but I don't see much of a difference in 3-wall and 4-wall with the top players. I think the top players are pretty much, would be the top players also in 3-wall, and I don't think the game is all that different. you've seen Sean Lenning as the top 3-wall player in the world for the last 6 or 7 years. He's also been the top 1 or 2 4-wall players in the world. Andy
18
Nett,
play
also one of the
8.
top 3-wall players, also in the top 6 or 7 in 4-wall. Emmett Peugeot was number 1 in both at one time.
You made it to the semifinals a couple
Short.
times. Thought that ball
Short
was
ball.
good.
There's certainly nowhere near the kind of difference between 4-wall and 3-wall as there would be to 1-wall.
Second serve.
Although we've seen top guys do very well in 1-wall as well, starting with John Bike in the early 90s, Noddy and Toddy also making semifinal appearances there, Dave Chapman making it to the semis, as well as Emmett Peugeot. Now I know that the New Yorkers, Dave, will have literally 100 excuses for each one of those results, but the fact is, these guys can cross over virtually any code, and I'm looking forward, Dave, to seeing them cross over in big ball as well, and I think that'll probably
19
be about the
play
most
8.
exciting atmosphere that we'll see. In fact, I'd like, Dave, to see you combine the Cup and the race series.
That'd be fun.
I don't know what the
20
Players'
play 8.
Championship, though, would be. That would it be 4-wall or 3-wall? Big ball or small ball if you combine? That would be the dilemma.
Hold it.
Nikolai should have been happy there. He got a pretty fortunate call, but I feel like, Dave, Nikolai's pre-shot shoulder turn and coiling is a little bit too slow to play against a hitter as hard as Andy
20
Nett.
play
Doesn't
8.
have enough time to coil his whole body and swing when you're playing a guy hitting the ball as hard as Andy Nett. You need sort of like what Dan Marino has, that quick trigger, quick release. Just like Sean Lenning has. It doesn't matter how hard you hit it at him because his swing is so short and he still generates a lot of power. Nikolai, on the other hand, has a very long swing, which, Dave, similar to Barry
21
Bonds in
play 8.
baseball, he started off with a very long swing and he shortened it to become a power hitter. You can't really hit for power if you've got a really long swing. I thought I could engage you in that area, but
You actually can with a long swing. It's just your batting average is not going to be very good.
okay.
There have been some good home run hitters that had long swings.
22 play 8.
Dave Kingman, for example, hit over 400 home runs in his career, 450 to be exact, and he didn't make the Hall of Fame because his batting average was down around the Mendoza line. Those are the guys that swing and miss a lot.
23
But
play
what
8.
was his slugging percentage, more
He
importantly?
had a good slugging percentage,
Short.
but
I think batting average is pretty overrated unless you're a
well, he wasn't a good
percentage guy.
clubhouse guy. But let's, that's another reason why he.
Hold it. Short.
I'm not saying that Barry Bonds was a good clubhouse guy either, but there's a.
Well, he was a good clubhouse guy. He had his own clubhouse with his own recliners and
8 play
TVs.
23.
That was a double fault from Andy Nett. But Andy Nett also hit a couple of second serve aces. In Andy's last 2 events, Dave, in the singles, he just hasn't really looked all that good. He was terrible against Charlie Shanks at the World Championships, probably the worst match I've ever seen Andy play. And then he really
23
wasn't
play
too
8.
sharp against Luis Moreno last week at the US Open. And here, Dave, he's the guy that won the World Championship alongside Luis Moreno, just absolutely dominating, crisp and precise. That's the hardest ball that Nikolai has hit in this entire match, 87 miles per hour.
Towel? Kid downstairs. Yeah, the towel's downstairs. Yeah.
Our referee, Victor Perez, who had just been vanquished by Emmett Peugeot. He'll be in the 9 through 12 playoffs, and it looks like Nikolai Nahorniak, his teammate at Lake Forest College, will be joining him in that 9 through 12 playoffs.
Eight plays 23. Second serve.
No call there from our referee. I actually thought that was good. It must have been so short that it didn't even warrant a call.
You see Nikolai hanging out, getting a lot of side outs here
23
as Andy
play
needs
8.
to put this game away. for the betterment of himself, really. He has a big one coming up against Sean Lenning, and here it is now, game and match.
Amazing
serves
serving,
8.
Dave. That's his 10th ace thus far in this match. Even has had a couple of aces to the left.
And another side out.
You make it seem like, Dave, there's been a lot of side outs
Well,
here.
there
really.
has been.
8 plays 24. Short.
And that's the serve that Nikolai will need to develop.
Second
If he
serve.
can hit that serve a couple inches deeper over the line, he becomes a much more formidable threat against these top guys. Thus far today, Dave, he hasn't really shown what he's capable of doing. And even on that shot, which is a big setup, he gives Andy Nett a setup.
Nick's very frustrated. He took a little bit too much off of that revolving door shot.
24
Sometimes
plays
focusing
8.
more on his technique and less on just pounding that ball. Look at that serve.
Beautiful two-ball pass, and you see, Dave, he hit that low enough so it didn't come up off the back wall. A lot of
8
times
plays 24.
you float the two-ball pass kind of mid-range on the front wall. It's an easy pickup for your opponent. It's been a very clean match, Dave. Very few hinders as opposed to the second match we watched today. And there's an unforced error from Nikolai. These guys, Dave, literally a foot taller than John Iglesias and Chip Morales each, but yet they've never been in each other's way.
24 plays 8.
I believe that Nikolai Nahorniak, this could be the match right here, is a hard hitter, and there
Nice
he
game
is.
match.
I believe he's a hard hitter, but Andy hits the ball so hard he makes Nick look like he's playing paddle in there. But as Andy Nett takes out Nikolai Nahorniak 25-8, and now advances to face Sean Lenning in exactly 4 hours and a half from right now. That will be a 6 p.m. Mountain Time match.
Well, Dave, I believe this match was similar to what we saw with Emmett Peixoto and Vic Perez, where you have guys with similar styles, but in the case of Emmett and Vic, Emmett plays it better, and I believe Andy plays it better in this matchup. And both matches were very lopsided with Emmett Peixoto and Andy Nett, both guys invited in the top 8 here, advancing. In fact, Dave, we've only seen one guy that was not in the top 8 advance, and that was John Iglesias taking out Chip Morales.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back at what I believe is 4 o'clock Mountain Time. That's 3 Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern, and let's call it midnight, 11 o'clock p.m. in Ireland, if you want to tune in. That'll be John Iglesias versus some guy, some might call it a clown by the name of Dave Fink. Now, I wouldn't be the one to do that. I'm just saying some might do that. Yeah. Okay. That'll be a John Iglesias versus Dave Fink match. That's coming up at 4 o'clock Mountain Time. We'll be back for that. For the whole crew, thank you so much for your work today. Linda Manning, as well as Ben Grad, Dave Fink, yours truly, Dave Vincent. We'll be back in just a bit after a nice little lunchtime here at racefor8.com. Stick with us.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards.
Oh, don't. Oh,
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, here it goes.
oh no!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you.
Let's go.
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy.
Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.